posted. Gotta keep it posted. Gotta keep it posted. We got more clock posted with the poster. When you turn on your radio, we got more clock posted with the poster. When you turn on your radio.
You know we poppin', just name a topic. Posted up like a palm tree in the tropic. Rozzy on the beat, make you wanna come and see. Mo to the C, radio to TV. You know she putting in work like she clocked in. Celebrity guest, never guess who gon' drop in. Television's best like a S on the chest. Who's next? Say less, cause you rockin' with the best.
Mo clock posted with the poster. When you turn on your radio. Posted with the poster. When you turn on your radio. From the streets to the television, we keep it going, ain't no intermission. From the streets to the television, we keep it going, ain't no intermission.
Monique Nikkole, host of DaPost Up on Status Network, Global Vision TV. You are actually my first recorded digital interview. Okay. But it looks like it's getting us recorded. So welcome to DaPost Up. So I just want to jump.
Thank you.
No problem. So I just want to jump right in. So tell me a little bit about your upbringing.
My upbringing, I was raised in New York, in Brooklyn, New York, with both my parents. My father was a New York City airman, lieutenant, and my mom worked in the school system. And pretty normal childhood. I started singing. They said before I could talk. My father also a singer on the side. So that's how I inherited my talent from my dad. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was my beginnings. Mardor.
Mm-hmm. Your dad was a firefighter. I love that because my dad was a firefighter. He actually passed away at 36 and I was 19. So when you said that, I was like, oh my God, don't cry. Oh, so wow. I gotta ask you, this was a big thing in my house because my daddy was a firefighter. Like, I'm not the best cook. And anytime I tried to cook something on the stove, please, God, do not let the fire detector go off because he would come running like, oh my God, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just frying a bologna sandwich, you know? So did you have situations like that growing up in your household where it was like, oh my God, were they very strict on you or?
Yes, my parents were very strict. They kept things in order. It was what it was back then, you know. My dad did rule with an iron fist, but his baby girl was his soft spot, which was me. And yeah, although he was hard as titanium, but he had a soft spot for me, that's for sure. Mm-hmm.
They'll definitely do it. My dad was the same exact way, so I totally get that. So who are some of your musical inspirations? Because I know you said that you've been singing before you could talk, so you gotta have a deep deck of inspirations, I'm thinking.
Absolutely. Stephanie Mills, Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, Gladys Knight, Melissa Morgan, Shirley Murdoch. So many, honestly, have contributed to the fabric of who I am as an artist. Mm-hmm. Andros, Brian McKnight, The Whispers, Edge. I mean, there's just so many, you know, collectively that I love and admire, you know.
Okay. That's deep. So when it comes to, you performing and writing, do you do your own material? Do you write, or do you have writers, or how does that go for you?
I do both. I write, and I'll take material from someone else that writes. I work with different producers. We merge ideas. It's a whole collective. I think as a creator, it's nice to create with other creators as well, because you wind up making things that are magical. Not that you can't do it by yourself, write solo as well, but it's nice to work as a collective. So I do both.
So what has this been like for you during the pandemic? Like musically, personally, how has it been? Because we're going on 4 years? 4 years now.
It's tough. But I used the time, especially during the height of the pandemic, I used it wisely. Concentrated on things that I wanted to make better, found a lot more time for my fitness and a lot more time to write and to catch up on things that we sometimes neglect that we need to catch up on. Like, and then, the downside of it is not being able to get out there and be with people. As a singer and a songwriter, you like to be out performing. You want to be out where you can actually touch the people. And that's kind of like a fantasy right now. Like, you can't really be out the way you would like to and be comfortable and do the things that you love to do, and that brings you joy and also brings joy to the people that you bring joy to, because music is a gift. Like for me, there's no life without music, and there's a lot of people that feel like that's on the receiving end, and they can't receive it the way they would like to receive it because of the pandemic. So that's a tough thing. But you got to just find ways to work around it, you can, and and just try to make the best of what we're dealing with right now.
Right. So people say that there's a song for everything, and I agree. I've been in love, I've had my heart broken, my dude cheated on me, and I'm like, I always have something on the playlist. So what are some of your favorite songs that may have gotten you through whatever it was that you were going through?
It's funny because I remember back in the day when Brian McKnight, One Last Cry. I think I was going through like a breakup at that time, and I had that song on repeat, and I just drove my mother crazy. She was like, if you don't stop playing that One Last Cry. But that was my song, at that time, in that moment and place. And actually that entire album was like a soundtrack for the time that I was living through in the moment. But honestly, that was like the only time I listened to like sad music. I listen to so many different things, and it might not be because I'm going through something or feeling a certain way. It just might be just something that I really like. Like there's a song in my top 5 favorite songs, which is The Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me by Gladys Knight. And it's just so beautifully written. It's just a great song. Like between every line, this person is there. This person that inspires you, that brings you so much love and joy. It's just beautifully written. It's one of my favorite songs. Yeah. But,
I'm laughing because the One Last Cry, I was a teenager, and I remember my aunt, she had the song on repeat, and she just kept listening to it. And I remember thinking, what is she going through? And I think after this interview, I'm gonna have to call her and say, Auntie, you know, when you had that on repeat, was there something going on? Like, I just want to know, because I literally know the song word for word because of that moment. So it's funny that you bring that up.
Look how the song begins out the gate. My shattered dreams and broken heart.
You better sing it.
On the shelf, I saw.
Doesn't it make you want to cry?
Hands standing close to someone else. I mean, it's just, it's just one of those songs, and I think that's
one of those songs.
A situation like that.
Yeah.
You know? Oh,
so
Lord.
I definitely hear the New Yorker. I hear the accent. It's very strong. So
yeah.
How do you incorporate fashion into like your stage presence, or if it's album, whatever it is, your industry? How do you create, incorporate your fashion?
Wow. It goes a lot by how I'm feeling, because like anyone that's been following me from 2015 on, from when I decided to come center stage from behind stage, because I started in management and stuck behind the stage. I'm still a concert promoter, but I'm multifaceted. So, but anyhow, it depends. Like, the big thing for me is occasion appropriate, size appropriate, age appropriate, depending on how you look, because age is just a number, but it just all has to fall in, and then the mood of the catalog that I'm performing. So that's how I make my choices as far as fashion is concerned. And
so with you making the jump, you mentioned about, management and coming from behind the scenes and coming forward to be your own artist. We find that a lot that happens. So what made you decide that you wanted to actually be, front stage?
Well, you betting on everybody else when you work in a supportive role. And, with me having own studios, and, you're renting out your space and you're helping to support everybody else's dream, but you have this talent that you're not sharing with the world, and you're not betting on your own talent. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something that just kept coming to the forefront for me. And I finally said, you know what, let me just forge forward. Let me do this. And, I'm not going to lie, not too much scares me, but I was pretty reluctant. It took a while for me to get there. And, my parents, although my father sang, he didn't want me in the music business. So I just had to go back to come forward. So I was conditioned to be more academic than to be trying to do music as a profession. It was go to school, become a professional, which I did. I did everything that they wanted me to do. I was in a law profession for almost 20 plus years. And then I decided to retire from that and work on my artistry full time. Although I was working both simultaneously, but I decided that, okay, I need to complete that chapter and move on and give this my focus. And I mean, I'm sure that there are quite a few people that have done the same thing, that you probably came across. But like in my world, I don't know a lot of people that have come from that to go to being in the front. Most managers probably do stay in the background, or, from what I know, but I can only speak for what's around my immediate and what I see. But that was my reason, because I'm like, God gave you this talent. This talent should be heard. Like, why are you not sharing it? Why not bet on yourself? You're betting on everybody else. You're providing stages and platforms and for everyone else to express their artistry and what they have on their heart. But you're in the background supporting everyone else. It's time for you now to put that energy behind yourself. And that's pretty much how it happened.
I love that. So with me, I do some of everything. I act, I do media, I have my own boutique, I do all of these things.
What?
And I was constantly promoting something. If you go to my Instagram, 1 minute I'm promoting a TV show, and then I'm promoting the podcast, then I'm promoting the boutique. And I had a couple of people hit me up and they're like, you know what? Your businesses aren't blowing up because you're not focusing on one thing. And for me, I am the one thing, I'm the brand, right? The whole thing, everything, all things dog. That's a good name for a business, but I'll get back to that. I might need to write that down.
Right.
But have you ever had people tell you, just stop, just, they put pressure on you to focus on one thing? And what's your reaction when that happens?
I don't listen to anybody that tries to stop me from doing anything that I want to do. So, I mean, it's just what it is. I don't put a lot of credence in people that are speaking from a place that hasn't been where I've been, or not even in the mind space to give advice. Now, if the advice is coming from a person that, that's valid, then yeah, sometimes you do need to pull back and listen, because criticism is not always bad.
Right.
It's a good thing. So I sift through the good, the bad, whatever, as far as what people have to say about how you should approach things with your businesses and the ventures that you're, the dreams that you're chasing. But you got to look at where it's coming from. That is the key. Now, if it's coming from somebody that's been there, done it, and they're just pulling your coattail, sometimes you got to take a step back, and let me look at this. Let me see. Well, maybe I do need to shift my focus to X, Y, Z, and maybe not A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Now, I'm a firm believer that this is something that I say often. You can do it all, right? But not today. So, like with anything else, sometimes you gotta, all right, say if I got 5 things, I might want to do 3 right now and get those 3 off, or do 1 and put the other 2 in these other 2 compartments, and I'm gonna come back to that. But it's not like you're not doing it, but you get your 1 baby going, and then now you get your next baby going, or you can get all 3 babies going, and maybe these 3 over here, we're gonna get them going. So it just depends on how far you can spread yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it depends on where the advice is coming from. So that's my answer for that. Because that person looking on the outside, looking in, may have a point. They may not. But you gotta kind of pull back and look at the full picture, and then reevaluate, and then be like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna do all 5 of these things, and I got it. If you got it, you got it. If you don't, pull back, do 3. Then add the other 2 next year. So, yeah.
It's a lot of work. People don't realize that, when you get on TikTok and you're changing and you're putting on different wigs and you're doing this and you're playing 12 characters, it's a lot of work, and it can get discouraging at times. Mm-hmm. So you as an artist, what have you been working on? What has been driving you crazy? Any upcoming projects? What you got going on?
Girl, I'm trying to finish this album. So that in itself is a lot. I just launched a luxury rental company, so I'm doing things behind the scenes with that, and my gosh, film stuff I'm looking through and getting through some things like that. I have some pretty nice collaborations that are coming, trying to work through that part. Like I got a lot of things going on right now and trying to just make some decisions moving forward about touring and, just looking at everything that's going on and also taking into account my safety and, trying to debate if I'm going to go overseas yet, because I had some things prior to the pandemic that were set up. So I have a lot going on, a lot of things that I'm trying to decide, the pecking order and what's next. Mm-hmm.
I feel like we cousins. I don't know why. I feel like we cousins somewhere because I'm looking at you and you sound exactly like me. You sound like you are a Jack and Jill of all trades, a Jill of all trades. And I think that's definitely, that's a good thing to have. Sometimes people think it's about money and, they'll make comments about, oh, you got to have all these resources of income. But sometimes, like you said in the beginning, you have all these gifts that God gave you, all of these talents that God gave you. So why should you limit yourself to just one? That's insane to me. Like if I know how to sew clothes and do makeup, why not do them both?
That's right.
I mean, I don't know how to sew clothes, but I'm just saying if I did.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Like you can do it. You just can't do everything today. Like
right.
I said, you have to schedule your life out and put it in order as to what goals you want to achieve first. Mm-hmm. Everything might not work out simultaneously, and that's okay too. But there's always, okay, I'm on a 3-month plan. All right, I got this going. All right, that's up and running. Okay, now this is up next. I'm going to get this done. And you set your benchmarks and your timelines and you try to adhere to them. Things will happen, but I don't believe that you can't do all of it. You can. You can, but you gotta really be disciplined to be able to know where you need to pull back and where you may need to mash the gas. You know what I mean? So that's my take on it. That's my take on life, period.
So what advice, if you could go back and have a conversation with your 16-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself?
I would tell myself to remain focused. Just focus on your goal. That's it. Nothing else matters. But like I had to pause for a minute because even like at 16, I was wired a little differently than the normal 16-year-old because I was pretty focused. It's just, what are you focusing on? That's what it is. So yeah, I would and believe in yourself. I think more so believe in yourself and your abilities. Be more self-confident in who you are. That's what I would tell myself as a 16-year-old, because I think at that age, like I have a daughter that's that age, and when I try to impart that knowledge to her about certain things that don't matter and things that she should focus on, you don't really have a grasp of that at 16. The things that matter really don't matter. So that's a tough one. But would I listen to myself if I said to myself? I don't know. But that would be that's the information that I would give myself.
Yeah, my daughter's 20. She's about to be 21. And, I think with the wake of social media and things that are going on, it's still things that they can't grasp. It's still things that I can't even grasp as an adult. You know, I'm stuck on trying to make it make sense, and
Right.
everything just don't. It just don't, and it won't make sense. So that's just what it is. I just tell my 16-year-old self it ain't gonna make sense.
That, yeah, you know what? That's great advice, because at that age, a lot does not make sense. But what I'm seeing now as my daughter's progressing, she's already seeing that what I've said makes sense now. And I said a lot of times, I'm like, you're still in your 16th year and you're starting to see some of the gems. So what does that tell you? Listen to your mama. You know, I'm glad I still have my mom. My father passed back in the day, you know, 89. So he wasn't around to see me, you know, as an adult. You know, I was a kid. I was a little kid when he died. So, but, you know, I see now with her that she's getting it sooner, which is good. So hopefully some of the bumps and bruises that I got, she may avoid. But we can't save them from everything. It's just not.
We can't. You're right. So before I let you go, why don't you tell everybody where they can find your music, when we can be looking for these films that you hinted about?
All right. My website is MoniqueNikkole.com. That's like the best way to keep up with what's going on with me. At Monique Nikkole. Nikkole is Nikkole. It's not the common spelling. And they can Google me as well. And all of my links will come up. So you go to my website, sign up for my mailing list. That way you'll get everything through via email and you won't miss anything, just in case you're not online all the time. It'll prompt you as soon as you log on to add your email and stay in the loop. That's the best way to get in contact with me as well.
Well, I'm gonna do that. I need to stay in contact because I feel like we're cousins, and I do have some people in New York. I never met them.
Okay.
My granddad was popular back in the day, but
I got you.
I'm gonna start asking around. Be like, do we have a cousin? Because this lady, she just got way too much drive to be normal. She's one of us. She got to be one of us. Thank you so much for interviewing with me. I know it was a rough start in the beginning, but we got it. I think we got it. It's going to be amazing. It was amazing. And it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Absolutely. Likewise. Stay in touch.
Yes, ma'am. We following each other now. So you're going to have to come to the family reunion so you can meet all your other cousins.
Yes, Mo. From Mo to Mo. Right now.
See what I'm saying? Bye, love. Thank you.
Yeah.